Hey, good morning, Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us here on Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show, where we bring you the news, what's happening in the market here in Las Vegas from the professionals, so you don't have to hear it from people that don't know what's happening. So
I love that. Great start.
Good start, right? So if you're watching our show, please like, comment, share, tell your friends about us. Keep following us on whatever portal you're watching. If you download our show, you'll be notified every Thursday when we release a new episode. So we have, welcome back. Our co-host, Tiana Carroll.
Hi, guys.
Is with us today. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot more Tiana. I need to stop talking so much. Let Tiana do so.
No, don't give me a chance to
It's my
start
fault.
talking.
That's what I do.
Don't give me a chance to start talking. I won't stop. You'll never get the show back. Forget it.
Great,
Say
great.
30 minutes. How about 3 hours for this?
Yep.
That's all right. We'll have to extend. Jeremy Lewis is with us today, and Jeremy's going to talk to us. He is an expert in the luxury market, and we're going to hear a lot of great things from him. And I keep on finding out new things every second I talk to you. So.
No, we'll have to get it out there. Time is of the essence, so let's do this.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm born and raised in Vegas.
Love it.
And my family's actually, we just spoke about this. My family's was the largest home builder in the state. Lewis Homes family. My father, grandfather, cousins, uncles built over 30,000 homes from '76 to 2001, and sold to KB 20 years ago when I was in college. And I was a little upset about that at the time, but I had to find my own way in real estate, and everything worked out. All's well that ends well. But I started. When I was about 8 years old, they had me digging foundations, and then went to concrete, framing, stucco, electrical, plumbing, et cetera, et cetera. But so by the time I was, 12, I think, to this day, I still know more than most general contractors, and it served me well when I got into the real estate business.
I agree with that 100%. I have a construction background, and knowing certain things is very beneficial in the business.
And
that we're in.
I make a joke, but it's actually not a joke. I say you're not if you haven't shown at least a Lewis home in this town, you're not a full-time agent.
That is absolutely the facts of the matter. Because your family was paramount in the building of this city, and is such a great big part of our community. So it's pretty interesting.
I'm proud of that. To be honest with you. And people are like, oh well, you have to make your own way, but well. My past and my history is my history, so
right, the foundation, and it's served you well, right? All of that knowledge and experience that you were raised with gave you an edge and a benefit when you had to start on your own.
Exactly.
And you've been incredibly successful, so that's
I appreciate
awesome.
that. Yeah, no, it has. When I look back, what I already put 10, 11 years in of work from when I was a kid. So when they sold and I was 20 years old in college in 2001, I had to figure out my own way, but it made it a lot easier to transition a few years later when I graduated from UNLV into real estate.
All right. So did you go to UNLV for real estate?
No, I actually have bachelor's in history.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. See,
That's
people
a
are like,
big
I didn't see that one coming.
That's a wild card. Where that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then, of course, I'm sure, like many people, I tell my kids this. My kids are like, I'm not interested. Don't want to be in real estate. I'm like, one day you will be.
I mean,
all
it
roads
pulls
lead
you
to
in.
real estate.
It pulls you in. But yeah. So and then I've been with the same company. That my brokers are childhood friends. We grew up together, known each other since we were in junior high. And so they brought me in.
Rothwell Gort.
Yeah, Rothwell Gort Company, Richard and Ryan Crichton. And Richard just got an award in 2020. We're the same age. He turned when he turned 40 or 2021. He's in the business 20 years, and he's got an award for being a billion-dollar broker and the youngest by, I think, 20 years to do $1 billion in sales by 40.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
It was. Like, he is a real estate guru savant, and like you said, I learned most of what I know now from him.
Well, Jeremy, we know a little bit about your history. Tell us about what you're doing now. You are in the luxury market. So for our listeners out there, give them an idea of what luxury looks like in Las Vegas.
It's also, it can be subjective. Everyone has their definition of luxury. To me, it's, properties over $1 million, pool, large home. Nothing, tiny home. Nope. I don't consider,
Tiny homes aren't luxury? Are
no,
you sure?
No, I don't care how nice they are, what you want to charge for them, at least, I'd say even now, at least 3,000 plus square feet, you know, with something that, you know, what you're paying for what you get.
Right. So my experience in the luxury market is it does come down to the lot, how the home sits, but also there's a lot of story, right? We like to know what the finishes are. Is it tech friendly? What are the amenities of the homes? Because when you're moving into a luxury lifestyle, you're now dealing with folks who are not new to real estate. They've done several transactions and they're not so much, they want to feel connected to the home, and it's not so much about the price tag, it's about that life they're going to live.
Right. It's more if the home's a good fit for them more than the price per square foot even, or just the general size, like you're saying.
Right, right, and all of those amenities.
Right.
So how is the Las Vegas luxury market doing?
You know, people have been freaking out lately because interest rates have rose.
Just a little jump like yesterday.
Yesterday,
Well, a
yes,
huge jump.
recently.
And I think that's a good thing. If, you know, I was looking at numbers back in 2019, and there were, in general, not luxury, but in general, even in 2020, right before COVID, there was about 9,000 homes on the market.
Okay, so that brings us to our numbers today.
Yeah.
Trish?
Yeah.
Yes, we have 4,320 single family homes on the market this morning. And that's just across all price points. Single family homes, we're not counting condos or townhouses.
Okay. I mean, yeah, correct. There's 70 back in 2020, right before COVID, 7,200.
Wow.
Okay.
So we're at
So
43.
we're at 4320.
Yeah.
So we're still quite a way.
Yeah, our numbers have dropped, are raising compared to what they had been, dropped from the past, right? But we are seeing other things in the market, like we have over 1,000 of those homes being price reduced today. And then of those 4,000 plus homes, only 706 of them are $1 million plus.
I mean, those are good numbers. But the market is strong. If you even go back to March, 196 homes of $1 million plus
luxury?
sold.
Okay. Oh, sold. Okay.
So that's over, 20% of
Nice.
current what we have for sale now, just sold in 1 month.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't see a huge, anything,
Right,
downward
those
turn or
numbers
anything in the luxury
indicate that we
market.
have a higher luxury market than nationwide, because nationwide only about 10% of the market dictates that $1 million plus home.
Right.
So that's solid.
So are you seeing more people come here since a sports team, she writes? So Raiders raised our economy, right?
Of course they did. They're solely responsible for the luxury boom in
Thank
Las
goodness the
Vegas.
Raiders
Everyone
came.
knows
We
it.
would've
Thank you,
never
Golden
made it.
Knights. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Thank
Las
you.
Las
Thank you,
Vegas
sport.
Raiders. It had nothing
got
to
the
do with,
aces. We got it
had
all.
nothing to do with anything else. No, it's
So
just funny.
did you
Yeah.
see any type of substantial change after these sports teams were here or came? Did that?
Anecdotal and subjective
Agreed.
hype. Market psychology is market psychology in general. Or in luxury, if people perceive that there's a problem with the market, that's how they're going to behave. Their behavior will dictate their perception. It doesn't necessarily dictate that that's reality.
Agreed.
And the numbers don't really match, what people are freaking out about.
Exactly.
Anecdotally or in general that I hear every day in the business. So that's my take on it in a nutshell.
Right, and this is so true even right now. I have people panicking and freaking out, saying the market's changing. Are we, all these things, this shift's happening, and it is. I mean, the numbers, the inventory is going up. There is
that's
a
a
shift.
healthy thing. Like I said, I
agree.
I'm not gonna lie. I was killing it in 2019 and early 2020, and there was almost double the
Yeah.
single family inventory there is now. So it
Exactly.
doesn't make sense. I've talked about this, before. Supply and demand has to, dramatically shift for there to actually be a market shift. And to give it more perspective, if you're in the market like I was in the business in 04, when I started in 04, in 06, interest was at 7. I made a fortune.
Yeah.
The transactions were sky high. People were buying. No one's like, oh my God, their interest rates are so high. So after the crash, we got accustomed to these 2-3% interest rates. And then obviously COVID, it was necessary for rates to be low to stabilize everything and to put confidence back into, buyers.
Right. Yeah.
But now that's changed, and now to make the market a little healthier, interest rates have to rise, and I think it's a good thing. People are like, oh my God, this is horrible, interest rates rising. No, I think it's actually a good thing.
Right,
to
it's just
stabilize
pumping the
market.
brakes. It's just pumping
Right,
the
to
brakes
get
so
us
it
back
doesn't
to
get out.
normal.
Right, so we don't get out of control and we can stabilize.
Right.
And I'm very busy right now. There's a lot of people right now. I feel like there's more urgency to everybody I'm talking to, selling and buying, because they want to buy before the rates go up any
Yeah.
higher, and they want to sell right now because they have whatever the news is
Right.
scaring them
And
about.
quite frankly, the general market hysteria, psychology, and the anecdotal things you see on social media or talking to people, they're just not informed. If you look at transactions, in March, that's the height of, everyone puts their properties on the market, the height of the spring,
Yep.
buying season. 4,500 closed transactions in March.
Mm-hmm.
It is in May, 4,050.
It didn't change much.
Deals are closing. Everyone's like, oh, no one's buying, no one's selling.
That's not true.
Quite frankly, that's bullshit.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
I want
it's
people to know
absolutely.
that because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'm glad you had me on and that we're talking about this because it's important because people should not be basing the most important decision of their life on a rumor mill.
Absolutely. So the news, like a lot of times on the news, I mean, we all know headlines that panic sells.
Right, it's a business. News is a business.
Panic sells.
Especially on social media, which that's where I get most of my business. So I understand. So that's again, continue, please.
Yeah,
I
well,
wanna know what you have
that's
to
what
say.
it is. They're posting these headlines. People are scooping it all up. The market's crashing or the market's changing or whatever. We're not, and right here in the middle of it, I'm not seeing that. I have buyers contacting me every day, want to buy a house, ready to go do this.
Right.
It's not. I'm not seeing any type of situation where homes are not going to be
No,
selling.
and it's not affecting the luxury market whatsoever, in my opinion and my perception. When you're spending over $1 million, yeah, they don't like if you're financing and not paying cash. There's still so many other factors, and people that are in that market, they know once inflation gets under control, which it always has. There's been inflationary periods in our history, and then it always comes back down to under 2%.
It's always cyclical.
And so that they're in this for the long term. Real estate's
Absolutely.
a long term hold, a long term purchase, and short and medium term thinking just doesn't apply, in my opinion, because otherwise there'll be hysteria. So it's an easy refinance in 6 to 9 months. That's why I like what the Fed's doing to really pump the brakes now, get under control, so it doesn't take 2 years and 6 to 9 months, in my opinion, interest rates will start leveling out, coming down a little bit, and then you can refinance. But there's opportunities, in my opinion, for the non-luxury buyers right now, not just for prices being, and less offers, is that you want to get the interest rate down now? Ask for a $15,000 closing cost credit and buy your rate
Absolutely.
down.
Buy your rate
And
down.
get it to 5 from, let's say it's 7. Get it down to 5.5. Put it on the seller. They want to sell their property. There's always solutions. People are always crying and complaining, quite frankly, about the market instead of finding solutions. I thought of that in 5 seconds. It's not that difficult, and I know you guys have been doing this a long time as
Right.
well.
Well, it all goes back to one of the reasons I love doing the podcast is because this is our community and we're here to support the people in the community and keep them educated because we don't want the fear-mongering news to freak everybody out and let them know that this is no longer a viable option. And when you go with somebody who has experience and you're making the right choice and hiring somebody, they're always coming up with solutions. And that's most of our job. Is problem solving and helping
It is.
our clients navigate.
It is. Yeah, it's easy. You put in, instead of a price reduction on your offer, or a price reduction and a combination of a closing cost credit to help you with the rate. Then you tell your clients, and then you're paying interest if you're financing. In your first couple years, it's all interest.
Right.
First 7 years really, but it's all interest in the beginning, so it's not really affecting your payment too much one way or the other. And so yes, in 1 year, 2 years, if it takes that long, then you can refinance, but you already got down much lower than the current rate with the closing cost credit. And then you tell your clients, hey, a year to 18 months you refinance, you get it under 5 or wherever the market's at that time.
Yep.
And
Brilliant.
then you're the superstar that got them this amazing deal, right?
Right.
That's what we do.
We have to long-term plan instead of, like you said, everyone has this short-term thinking, and I was guilty of that too for probably the first 12 years of my career. And about 6 years ago, I need to think more than just tomorrow or next month. I needed to be thinking years out, and it really served me well, and it served my clients well. And so I try and instill that in every client, because otherwise they're just going to be like, okay, this is happening. Everything's flashing in our faces, not just
Right.
our clients, but all of us these days. And if we just react or overreact like I did to everything, it's not good for business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in our business, everything can change so rapidly. Everything can happen so quickly. We have to really just keep our head,
Yeah,
stay
these
level-headed
knee-jerk
throughout.
reactions are not good, and they don't serve our clients, in my opinion.
No, absolutely, and I see that mistake too happening with that, and I've done it, you know, early on as well too, and I see it happen a lot with other people where I'm just like, you really need to just stay level-headed through this, and you'll be able to get through it, and you can think more clearly as you do. Now, one thing that that I think is still pretty interesting here is the fact that luxury does start at $1 million in Las Vegas is, I mean, when you look at cities like California, would you call a $1 million home in California a luxury home?
Not at all. My family is actually from Los Angeles, and they have a little 1,500. My grandparents, grandmother's still alive, has a little in Burbank. She has a little 1,500 square foot one story. It's 900,000. It's 60 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to go for just under $1 million. So
Yeah.
it's all relative.
Right.
Yeah. But
And
those little Burbank bungalows are cute.
No, they are
So cute.
No doubt, no
Yeah.
doubt. But,
I mean, plus
you know,
there's a beach there, but you know, well, not quite there.
yes,
but,
and the traffic to get to the beach.
yeah,
Right.
nearby,
Yeah.
kind of nearby. But overall, I mean, I still think that it's still great opportunity that you can get what you can get for $1 million plus here in Las Vegas for even under $2 million is amazing as
It
opposed
is.
to so many other cities.
And a huge factor of why people are coming from the East Coast and from the West Coast is taxes. So it's not just about the property, which you do get a great value compared to any other large metropolitan city really in the country in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But they're coming, it's an extra 14% they just save right off the bat. So that's in the luxury market. Those things are factored in. That has nothing to do with the home, the location, the amenities, the pool, or the view, et cetera, et cetera. It's that $50,000 to $250,000 in savings. They don't mind paying a little bit more, or competing for a property that they really like.
Absolutely.
Or like you said, or paying a higher interest rate if they're financing.
Oh yeah, and that's I mean, and there's a whole different structure, as far as financing goes when you
Right.
get into jumbo loans. So
Right.
True.
yeah, are the rates? Have you seen the rates change with jumbo loans? Are they changing as rapidly as they are with the regular?
They're
traditional?
going about they're going
They're
about
going
the
at the
same
same rate.
direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're if a buyer wants to buy, they're not going to be deterred if they have that kind of thinking. If they're if they follow the rumor mill, the general market hysteria, then they'll freak out and stay in California, New York, or wherever they're at. But they still get their tax bill. They still get they still see the difference. And so I don't really see that in the luxury market, the reaction to the interest rate hikes at all compared to
Yeah.
what you see at the lower price point.
Yeah, I see most reaction there for your first-time home buyers.
Oh.
The first-time home buyers is where that has the biggest impact, the biggest effect.
Right, and I do, and even the 600,000-700,000. I heard people like, oh, you are paying more money, but it's all relative. You have to put in perspective. We've gotten so spoiled in a sense to essentially interest-free loans the last few years, because anything under really 3.5%.
It's a gift.
It's almost free money. It's
Yeah,
almost
it's a
free money.
gift.
But that's how we got into this inflationary problem. Part of the reason,
Right.
obviously. And so it needs to be to have a healthy market so that our clients can have their equity be more stable in the market, more stable in the long term. It needs to be over at least a little over 4%, and then that's where I think things should be at and stabilize instead of being at 2. Then swing to 7. That's going to cause problems, and people are going to think that the market's unstable.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And those 2% interest rates were amazing.
They were.
Like, yeah, we're a fan.
Yes,
Sign
you're
us
buying
up.
power.
Motivated
great.
you to buy more. But
Exactly. Oh, I can afford 900,000 instead of 6. This is amazing.
Yeah,
Almost in that luxury
Yeah,
market.
exactly.
So
I don't have to
close.
make one more dime, and now I can afford almost $1 million. I thought I was in the 600s.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day about that, and she was, she owned a home, and she bought it. I think we were at 6.5%. No, maybe like close to 6% when she purchased, and she refinanced it at 2.5%, and was like, "Wow, I didn't know it would make that big of a difference." And it was like huge. So
No, definitely. If you anything over a point, I tell my clients to refinance if they bought a home. If interest has gone at, let's say they bought at 5 and interest is at 4 and they can refinance, yes, there's going to be savings. Otherwise, you just wait till there's actually some more than marginal savings.
Right, because there's fees on that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
it's
what
not
people
for free.
don't.
There's nothing there's always you never get something, for
Yeah,
nothing.
you're not writing a check, but there's fees that goes
Yeah,
into
and they wrap it into your refi.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So they ask, some people don't think or don't realize that and just do it over and over again. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, you got to wait and make your move, and no one has the crystal ball,
Right.
as you know. And so, like, oh, I wish I did this, but looking back, you could always, the Monday morning quarterback. I used to do that all the time and be like, oh man, if I only acted then. Well, I can't go back in time. People always say, oh, I'm going to wait till the market crash. I'm like, really? That's great. So
Don't hold your breath.
let's do this. Or they act like, I remember in 2016, 2017, still people were acting like it was, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this house is 300. Let's put an offer in for 2. And I'm like, here's what I want to do. You obviously have a time machine. Take me with you, and let's go back 10 years, and I'll bring my money with, and we'll do that. Otherwise, you're living 10 years ago, and this is not reality.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I still run across those people that are just like,
Every day. No,
stuck
every
in
day.
years
It's
ago,
hilarious.
and I'm like,
going to wait
that's
till the
what-
market to crash. That's translation. To be honest with you, we're cutting the shit. That's translation. I'm broke and I can't buy anything, so I'm saying I'm not going to, get in the market because I'm going to wait for it to crash. That's a
Right.
translation.
It's
been 14 years.
motivation,
It's
yeah.
been 14 years.
Yeah, the translation
If
is
it-
that
if-
fear
if
of
it-
making
if
the
it-
commitment and having to be financially responsible
If the
for
market
something.
could crash, it would have crashed.
Right.
Yeah. No, it would have crashed during March 2020. That was the perfect time for
Yes,
it to crash.
when
And
when literally we couldn't even go outside.
the strip was shut down.
And it still didn't crash. It actually grew.
know.
It actually grew. So
Yeah,
after
it
that,
accelerated
Yeah.
like mad.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
amazing.
so
Lights
then-
went out on the strip. I was like, all right, I'm going to take a little staycation for a while.
Right.
And then
Not
my
what
phone starts
happened.
ringing. People are like, hey, I want to buy.
right. It was
right
a
now.
it was a scary, unstable time. You didn't know. So, but that should have silenced all the naysayers when it didn't happen and the market goes up. It didn't even go down or stay stable.
It
it
went up.
skyrocketed.
Yeah.
That should have been like, okay, I'm going to stop using this line and I'm going to wait to the buy until the market crashes. So that's my piece on that. I'm emotional about it.
Yeah.
We love the passion. We love the passion.
Well, I mean, the city's growing. Our population's over 2 million now. We're growing substantially. We're not just this little Vegas
Not at
town that
all.
we used to be anymore. So along with that is, demand. There's huge demand in the city. People want to live here. And there's now, the economy's grown. We're not just a hospitality economy like
No,
we used
it's
to be.
diversified immensely. I love it.
And you were raised here. You remember
Yeah.
what Vegas was like when we were kids, right? It was-
Oh yeah, I remember. People always like, so do you live in a hotel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
That's all I got
absolutely.
asked.
Do you live on the strip?
Yeah. So do you live in which hotel do you live in?
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I was asked that all the time when I was a kid. We had I don't know your age. You
I'm
might
40
be
I'm
younger. than me.
41.
Okay, so you're just a couple years younger than me. You do remember this, maybe. But we had a teen talk line where it was like a phone line that you called and you talked to like other teenagers across the country.
I do remember that.
Do you remember this?
Yeah. It was in
And
the
every-
90s, right?
Yeah, it was
I
in
mean,
the-
I graduated
What?
high school in 99.
What are you
so,
talking
This
about?
was our social media. How did you not know this? But
A teen talk line?
yeah, so like
No, I
we
don't
like
know what you're
talked to
talking
like
Yeah. Times have changed.
other teens all over. It was like this like big group phone call. And I'd say like, yeah, I live in Vegas. And people would be like, what casino? And I'd say, I don't live in a casino. I live in a house. You're lying. And everybody'd start yelling at me that I was lying about it.
No,
there's
I remember.
houses here.
I remember this funny story. I remember walking with my mother and grandmother and my brother and sister in the Gold Coast. And,
Remember the Gold Coast?
Yeah, and then it's somewhere, I don't know, it was like 93, 94, somewhere around there. And someone came up to us and was like, so where do they let all the kids stay in this hotel? How can the kids be here? It was just hilarious.
Yeah, it's always people's perception, right? It's so different when you actually live here. And that's kind of what I love about it, where just the diversity of lifestyles you could have here.
Yeah, like people like that forever, people didn't realize that there was like actual, like communities where you could raise
Schools.
families.
No, they had no
Schools.
idea.
Yeah,
They had no idea, and it kind of ties into, like I said, people's perceptions, reality, whether in real estate or that, everyone lives in a hotel if you live in Vegas and there's no other outside neighborhoods, because when it's in front of your face, is all people really see. That's all they know.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we have to get ahead of that in order to, like you said, prevent kind of, people acting in their own, not acting in their own self-interest and kind of just following, where the smoke trail leads them.
Absolutely. So let's talk some fun stuff about luxury.
Sure.
What are the biggest things in demand? Now, I'm going to answer one of these questions because I know
Please.
pool. Like
Yeah.
you can't live in Vegas without a pool. I mean, if you're buying luxury,
I think
you
it's
have to
kind
have
of
a pool.
silly if you're spending over $1 million to get a property without a pool.
Yeah.
It seems like a poor investment, or just a poor. I mean, regardless if you want one or not, it needs to be made. Yeah, a pool to me is a must for $1 million plus property.
Absolutely, absolutely. What are some other things that people might not consider?
What I would consider is, the not just the lot size, but the lot placement, the community, whether what the privacy level, minimum, 3-car garage. If you have a
Oh, yeah.
property, a lot of properties are going for $2 million. Some of them have a 2-car garage. That is kind of absurd to me. You're spending that
is.
kind of money. You need to have at least a 3-car garage. 4 should be the standard, but that properties weren't built like that. Now, the last 5 years, they had 4 to 6 is really good, and I think that should be the gold standard. But you need to have some room in your garage. You need to have your Tesla chargers. You need to have something going
Absolutely.
on. I don't know what else. It's very subjective. What do you
I'm going to
think?
chime in, and I'm going to say it's all about a view. We have such beautiful mountainscapes and the strip city views
Yeah.
and stuff that if I'm buying $1 million property, besides having that pool, I may never get in it. But it's
doesn't
there
matter, right?
aesthetically,
It's
it's
just
beautiful.
knowing that you have
but
it.
the view,
Right.
waking up and looking at the mountains or seeing the
Yeah.
strip in the evening,
Or
I
on
think
the
those
golf
are
course.
important.
We have some great golf courses.
Oh, we do have amazing
Yeah,
golf
you
courses.
got to have a mountain view, a strip view, or a golf course view if you're spending that kind of money, in my opinion.
No,
I
the view
agree.
is everything. Even with my own home, I walk out back. I want the view. It makes me just
Yeah,
feel
and I
like
think-
I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I think another thing you have to have is at least a balcony, if not a deck,
Okay.
if you're spending $1 million plus.
I do. I like multiple outdoor outlets myself.
Yeah. Definitely entertainment areas. Entertainment areas are important, even if you're not entertaining.
Yeah. And nowadays, a smart home, something that's connected to everything.
Yeah.
You want your homes to work for you and to
Yeah.
be effortless.
People in that higher price range, and rightfully so, in my opinion, are more environmentally conscious, and a lot of people, if they won't buy a property unless it has solar.
Right. Yeah.
And so most at least luxury new constructions have that option, or everyone I know is like, oh, does it have solar?
Yeah. No,
On
that
the $1 million plus price point.
that is important. That is important. And I have solar on my home, and I can't imagine living in a home without solar.
Right.
After having it,
You become spoiled.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not paying a power
It just
bill.
seems like the minimum level of technology and energy efficiency to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
spending
Yeah,
that
that's
much
an
money.
important point.
That is a very important point. Also, I've rarely seen any luxury homes that do not have some type of wine cellar. This is very common,
Sure,
right?
this was a $7.7 million listing on St. Croix in McDonald Highlands, and it does not have one, and people are complaining.
Are they complaining? Okay.
They are.
This is,
And you know what?
It's
You're almost
expected,
spending
right?
$8 million. You should have a wine. You should have a glass wine cellar, and you should have 2 islands. I
Right.
feel like that's a standard, especially over $5 million.
Yeah, over
A bar, a wet bar.
Yeah.
And-
A double island
Mm-hmm.
and a wine cellar. If you don't have that, that's kind of the standard. Obviously, we already covered everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't have, and then people are like, it doesn't have it. I'm like, we'll give you $50,000 credit. Put it in.
Build one.
But if you don't have the vision, it definitely inhibited offers.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
My previous life, before I got into real estate, I did a lot of custom finishes, faux finishing, and things like that. So, I worked in luxury homes, quite often doing things of the sort. One of the houses was a massive wine cellar, massive that we did, and I did create a finish to make it look like brick from a New York subway throughout this whole cellar. It was
Yep.
amazing.
Another thing that I just thought of, luxury theater room.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So those things, I think everything we talked about is really
Because it comes back to the lifestyle, right? You want to be able to entertain, you want to be able to
Right.
relax. You don't want to leave your house, especially if you're in a luxury market. Chances are you're in a high-powered position in work.
Right.
You just want to come home, decompress, and have everything accessible.
right. And you don't necessarily have to have a huge home. There's, if you're getting a new build in Summerlin West and you're getting 3,200 square feet for $1.3 million, it's still the layout needs to be able to have where you can have a small theater room
Right.
in your property.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. That's something that you see universally across
Yeah,
most luxury.
those are kind of, I think we covered all the generally must-haves, I think, even though it's anecdotal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's subjective. Somebody's listening
It
to
is.
this right now going, I don't need a TV
Yeah,
room.
I don't
I
want
want a
that."
basketball court.
Yeah, or
What about guest homes, casitas?
Yeah, guest casita, many homes, many
Yeah.
luxury properties have that,
Yeah.
or at least they call it not detached. It can be an attached, but it's a separate guest quarters.
Right, the next gen home.
Yeah, for
The next
family.
gen.
For family, I think detached is better, but at least if you have an attached and it's kind of self-sustaining, it serves the same purpose.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what about, just like in closing, you were on a show on HGTV, Pool
Mm-hmm. yeah.
Hunters?
Yeah, it's a couple episodes out here, and they filmed here in Arizona and Texas. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Okay, so assuming from the title, Pool Hunters, you guys were looking for amazing pools in Las Vegas. Tell me a little bit about
$1 million
that.
plus, properties, focusing and featuring on the pool and the backyard.
Right.
That was the show focused on that. It showed the rest of the house, but if the backyard wasn't amazing with a spectacular pool, it wasn't even an option for our clients for the show.
So people that have homes and they have they want to really put that extra money in giving them bang for their buck when they sell, when they're going to transition, or just for their own pleasure. What are some things that they should add to that pool area to make it really just stunning and amazing?
Well, you see a lot of these luxury flips these days, and they're spectacular, but they don't want to spend the money because they already have a pool in the backyard, but it doesn't match the amazing finishes and the renovations that took place in the inside of the property, even the exterior.
Right.
That was updated. And so the hardscape, everything needs to be modernized. If you're going to do it all the way.
Yeah,
If you're
Absolutely.
going to
I ran
remodel
into
your
that
house,
problem.
change the hardscape, change everything, add the modern features, add the outdoor kitchen. Before the style it wasn't this indoor-outdoor fusion that's been very popular last 10 years. It was more just you got your home and you got your pool, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so modernizing the hardscape, adding the indoor-outdoor kitchen, having a little pergola, something covered.
The
cover
outdoor
the patio.
kitchen's a must. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the fire, you can have the fire pit. You have some kind of water features, and update the landscaping too, and don't just leave the backyard just because it's a pool and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't match your fantastic property on the inside or even the exterior.
Yeah, how many times have you walked into a house and it's like amazing, the house just blows you away, everything's going great. You get into the backyard, there's a pool, a deck, and nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's nothing. It's just like, this is...
I have a client, yeah, he has a beautiful property in Lake Las Vegas, and he wants to list it, but inside it checks all the boxes. Outside it's just pavers and a pool and a spa.
Yeah.
And this great view of the lake, but literally it's not even a shrub.
Yeah.
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 So he's
Yeah.
going to be spending, $200,000 just to get it, to match the inside of his house, and to you have this unobstructed view of Lake Las Vegas, but you don't even have a tree in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
It's very necessary. It really just, it finishes the look, it completes everything, and it's going to be more attractive when you go to sell.
Right.
It's going to bring more people in. It's going to be, it fizzles out when you walk outside and you see nothing but concrete or pavers or
Right.
rock.
The excitement
Just
for the
rock
buyer
all around
goes
it.
downhill from there, because
Right.
that happened to me this weekend. We're showing homes, the interior remodel is great, and you get outside and it still dates the home.
Yeah,
There's
it's
nothing
neglected.
fresh and modern, and your buyers are now like, oh, so close, but no. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to cost them a pretty penny to get
And they
that
don't
house.
want to wait. It's summertime. They
Yeah.
want to get out there now. They
Let's
don't want to be
play.
a construction zone. So
Right.
these are the kind of, I just did a luxury panel, mastermind panel with Darren Marquez. And
Oh,
Robert
right, last
Coomer.
month, right?
Yeah, last month. And great, and I did a promotional video and with Ricky Palacio. He's a great up and coming kid, and he's trying to get break in the luxury game. And I told him, and it's true, you can sell real estate, on a lower level and play checkers. But if you want to sell real estate and be sustainable at any price point, but especially in luxury, you got to, we got to play chess, and we got to play chess in 5D.
Yeah.
You got to anticipate these things for your clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely help them make good choices because some people just don't have vision.
So
No, they don't. Or like I said, they're impatient like me, or they don't, like you said, it's summertime. They want to have access to their pool. And so these are the factors. It's not just, oh, great price, the location. You think that's the basics, but then, like you said, then you got to play chess after
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in closing, thank you for so much for being here on the show.
that. No, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
How do people reach you, Jeremy?
You could reach me on Instagram, Jeremy Lewis Vegas Realtor. That's kind of my main social media outlets. I'm also on YouTube, Jeremy Lewis Vegas Realtor on YouTube. I have my Facebook, but that's for realtors. Me to network with my realtor friends. So I kind of don't do too much business there. But yeah, that's how you reach me.
Okay, wonderful. And thank you so much for being on the show. And Jeremy, we have people watch our show that are consumers that are looking, just interested in the real estate market, want to know what's going on. We also have a lot of realtors tune in, and
Lots.
you do teach courses and
do.
help train on how
yeah.
to get into the luxury market.
Yeah, honestly, I've been training agents for the last few years and built a good team, and I want to actually have realtors as my clients and kind of shift my business,
Coaching.
It's been 18 years, to training realtors how to, make a living and to market and brand themselves and to, be independent of these outside lead sources. And, cold calling is great, but I get 10 silent spam calls a day. That way is coming to an end,
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We have
yeah.
to change every 4 or 5 years. I believe in any industry, there's a shift, and you have to innovate and change. Otherwise, you get left behind. And so
Yeah,
I
you
wanna
have to stay relevant.
Yeah, I have an online course, video training course that kind of brings realtors into the future. And it's not easy; it's work. But nothing worthwhile is easy, or it doesn't take work. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And you can go to my website if you want to get more information. It's
Yeah.
It's www.jeremylewisSocialMediaMastery. I know it's a mouthful.
Social media master.
Yeah, Jeremy
we can
Lewis,
remember that.
socialmediamastery.com. And so that's kind of, everyone thought, my way of doing business when I started doing these videos and social media marketing, branding, 6 years ago was a joke and it was a gimmick. It would never last. And
now every coach says, do this.
now
Yeah.
it's a gold standard. And really, I didn't see it coming 2 years ago when I was 4 years into this. When COVID happened, I became essential. My way became the only way.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't even go out and talk to anyone in person. The only way we could reach them was through social media channels.
Yeah.
And so that kind of crystallized everything. And now people really need to put the work in. And
Right.
I'm here to help to do that.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. I built my entire business off social media. So I agree with that 100%. That's the way that we're working right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's our contact, that's our networking, our database. Those are our parties, our networking event.
It
It's
is,
all
and you got to think outside the box too. I'm doing a deal for 2 brokers that don't do commercial real estate, but I do, and I'm under contract for a $3 million office building because social media. And so it's
Wonderful.
not just buyers, sellers, investors. I'm literally representing realtors and brokers.
wonderful. So your realtors out there, you want to change your business, you want to step up your business, contact Jeremy. He can help you with
Thank you.
that as well. And Tiana, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, you can always email me or call me. I'm a texter is my favorite, so 702-379-9948.
And with me, you can get a hold of me. You can text me, 702-308-2878, or Trish Williams team at gmail.com. That's our, you just go right there. That's where you can send in show questions. If you have any questions that you would like us to answer on the show, we'll answer them there. Just email those over to us or post them on whatever social media outlet you're on. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week and see you again.
Thanks.
Love it.